Hey guys, welcome back to another King reacting video. The world was definitely not expecting this, but it looks like the end of Pawn Stars is here. Today we're going to be looking at the events that led to the Pawn Stars throwing in the towel and discontinuing the show.
Hey guys, before we get into the video, make sure to enter our giveaway to win any of these prizes. All you gotta do is subscribe to the channel, comment the keyword, like the video, turn on post notifications, and most importantly, watch the whole video.
Number 10, the lawsuits. So many lawsuits. If you don't think you'll run over a few speed bumps on your way to the top, you're sadly mistaken. Since their debut on the History Channel, the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop has been the subject of more than a dozen lawsuits from customers and employees. One of the show's most well-known cases comes from David Walters, a man who sued Pawn Stars for melting down his gold coin collection valued at $50,000 back in 2014. Do you want to win a brand new iPhone or a brand new MacBook Pro? Maybe you'd prefer a $500 Amazon gift card. Well, comment the hidden message in this video for a chance to enter to win. His niece had allegedly stolen the collection, receiving a mere $12,000 from the pawn shop. Unfortunately for Walters, the Nevada court system was in favor of the Pawn Stars. In 2012, our four celebrities and their pawn shop also came under fire by their former manager/agent, Wayne Jeffries, following an alleged breach of contract. Another suit occurred in 2012 when a Vietnam veteran was roughly taken out of the shop by security. The man Daniel Callahan sought $20,000 for his injuries. However, anything about the case has been kept under the wraps. In an interview with Fox, all Harrison had to say about the lawsuits were, the more money you make, the more times people sue you. People are always going to eventually sue you for something. Number 9. They don't work at the pawn shop. Because of their show on the History Channel, the Pawn Stars are able to make a wealthy living through other means, so don't expect to see them in the shop unless they're, quote, working. They still pop in once in a while, but it's only when it's time to film the show, which isn't done as often as you think. They schedule the customers you see on TV, and they know exactly what they're bringing in ahead of time. To film the show, they also have to temporarily close the shop, which is also your best chance to meet the crew. Number 8. Corey's troubles. For someone who owns a bar, Corey sure can't control his alcohol. One incident occurred in 2012 when Big Hoss was in Big Bear Lake, California to celebrate a momentous occasion. Things got really loud really fast. However, soon enough, Corey found himself a drunk tank after resisting arrest and having a minor bar fight with a security guard. Then again in August of 2014, it was lightly reported that during a motorcycle ride out in Missouri, Big Hoss got himself big hammered again, acting ridiculously drunk and obnoxious. According to a few witnesses and photos, the man was far past his drinking limit this time and just urinated all over the bar stool, quite profoundly as well. And while the event didn't get Big Hoss kicked out of the show, it did get him kicked out of the bar after tossing a bar stool across the room. Number 7. Chumlee's legal issues. On the show, Chumlee is quite the character, having become the shop's punching bag for laughs. In general, he seems like a softie. However, he recently came into trouble in 2016 when his home was raided by the Las Vegas Police Department in relations to a sexual assault case. What came out of the raid were some narcotics, Xanax, methamphetamines, and marijuana, as well as an unlicensed firearm. Chumlee's experience at the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop must have come in handy though, when all but one charge was dropped in the case. He avoided jail time, but subsequently participated in several counseling sessions while under probation. There was also the alleged assault case, also in 2016, following a brawl on Hollywood Boulevard. Typically, mistakes such as these will follow someone around for a while, and it's definitely reshaped the way some viewers look at Chumlee and his association with the Pawn Stars. Number 6. The show interferes with the shop. When a show gains momentum and is shot out of a certain real-world location, tourists are bound to show up and check it out. For several years, this has been the sad truth for Gold and Silver Pawn, attracting roughly 5,000 visitors to the shop each day. According to the store manager, Travis Benton, about 1 in 100 visitors are actually genuine customers, hindering the business. Because of this, pawns, trade-ins, and business deals are extraordinarily difficult to regularly conduct in the shop, making it more of a gift shop in the sense of a tourist to buy memorabilia. It hasn't exactly forced the Gold and Silver guys to shut down their doors, but this new business model of theirs has certainly taken a toll on the shop and co. Not so much on their own though, and good luck to ever seeing the actual Pawn Stars in the shop anymore.
Significant value in excess of $250,000.
Number 5. They lack a sense of credibility. Remember the saying, just because someone says something doesn't mean it's true? The Pawn Stars are no different. Despite the show being educational, they've not let go of the fact that they're still a reality TV show. With that in mind, Pawn Stars will only want to show off the most exciting and expensive pieces brought in. But they're not always honest about the items. The idea of bringing in experts came from a show like Pawn Stars that never got past its first season. The idea was to bring on numerous professionals to appraise items, and the highest valued appraisal would be the one on air because of its shock value. There's no better feeling than seeing someone bring in an antique falsely advertised at $85,000. Eventually, however, most of the experts we see now are just hired by producers to give them reasonably high or low valuations.
The toy expert on Pawn Stars is facing a domestic violence charge.
Number 4. The experts have dark secrets. The Pawn Stars wouldn't be quite as complete without their set of experts we see come in every now and then, but there's still a lot we don't know about them, some of which is not that great. Johnny Jimenez Jr. was a former toy expert on Pawn Stars until his arrest in late 2015 following a domestic abuse case with his girlfriend whom he fought to the ground in a restaurant parking lot. John Reznikoff was an autograph authenticator on the show, whom in a 2011 episode falsely identified Al Pacino's signature for that of Al Rudy, who was actually a producer on The Godfather with Pacino. The owner of the screenplay, Diane, still managed to sell off the screenplay anyways for $12,000, blowing out Rick's offer for $500. Drew Max was another authenticator who purposely used his presence on the Pawn Stars to falsely identify sports memorabilia as real, reportedly costing sellers thousands. Lastly, and most recently, Steve Grant's expert skills were put into question in February of 2018 after incorrectly identifying numerous signatures at a convention, causing him to also be fired. Honestly, maybe the Pawn Stars should just stay away from the autograph authenticators altogether. Number 3. The Pawn Plaza flop. With the show's fast rise in popularity, Rick noticed an opportunity to expand and benefit from the thousands of tourists that visited the shop every day. If you happen to have visited the pawn shop itself, you probably noticed the Pawn Plaza across the way. It houses several stores, dining, and shopping, though by August 2016, the smoke shop, pizza place, and donut shop all closed their doors. The location has failed miserably since, subsequently costing the Pawn Stars a cool penny. Number 2. Hold this L, Pawn Stars. Leaving aside the financial loss Harrison had taken on the Pawn Plaza, our pawnbrokers have also taken quite a few losses on items as well. One of the shop's most popular losses comes from the time Rick Harrison purchased a quote-unquote signed Shoeless Joe Jackson book for $13,000. Rick definitely needs some new authenticators. There was also the time when Corey Big Hoss Harrison bought a fake Willie Mays jersey for $31,000, which was also wrongfully authenticated. Then there was the time Rick recounted purchasing a pair of diamond earrings for $40,000. Too bad they were stolen and rightfully returned to the owner, because now Rick was out $40 grand. The hardest loss, however, comes from an auction in 2015. Rick was selling off old memorabilia in the shop. He lost $100,000 that day. Number 1. There's a lack of interest from Rick. After doing the same thing over and over again, you're bound to get tired of it. But when it's the star of the show who wants to leave, things are really never the same. Just look at That 70s Show when Eric left, or The Office when Michael left. Originally, Rick was hoping for 1 to 2 seasons on the History Channel, not 15. He's growing tired of working 12 hours a day. In a 2015 interview with CBS News, he explained that the following 2017 year, he'd drastically be slowing down his involvement in the shop and the show. The show will still be around, Rick says, but the longevity of the show is questionable. And with that being said, that concludes why the Pawn Stars could be coming to an end. Feel free to comment what you thought about the video and leave a like if you enjoyed. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push the notification button to see more videos similar to this one in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on King Reacting.
Hey, yeah. Lights, camera, action. Pull up with a bad bitch. If you want a set, show me the cash app. Hey, don't expect me to pick my phone when you call. I've been working, I've been serving extra. Yeah, we with the extras. Man on a mission, I ain't searching for my petrol. All I need to know is that my fam ride with me in my movie.